President Trump calling out Nancy Pelosi, comparing her recent comments about crumbs to Hillary Clinton's controversial campaign remark. You'll remember the deplorables.
Then we got hit with these corporations giving tremendous bonuses to everybody that Nancy Pelosi called crumbs. That was that could be like deplorable. Does that make sense? Deplorable and crumbs? Those two words, they seem to have a resemblance. I hope it has the same meaning. But she called it crumbs when people are getting $2,000 and $3,000 and $1,000. That's not crumbs. That's a lot of money.
Leslie Marshall's a syndicated radio host and Fox News contributor. John McCormick is a senior writer for the Weekly Standard. Good morning to both of you. John, are these words that Democrats are going to live to regret?
They're both gaffes. They're different kinds of gaffes. Obviously, Hillary Clinton's deplorables line, that was insulting basically 25% of all voters as being racist or sexist or xenophobic. This one is just sort of more out of touch, suggesting that middle-class families would view $1,000 as crumbs. The problem for Democrats here is that all last year, just a month or two ago, they were saying that middle-class taxes were going to go up. They said the sky was going to fall next year. And the problem when you say that the sky is going to fall is that voters can look out the window and see the sky isn't falling. So they're scrambling now to come up with a new argument saying that, well, this isn't a lot of money, which to a lot of middle-class families, that's simply not the case.
Leslie, was it fair for the president to tie these two things together to make the case that Democrats are out of touch?
Well, I don't think there's ever fairness in politics, Sandra, but I'm not surprised that he's doing it. I mean, right now he is enjoying a 10-point bump. He just came off the State of the Union address. And this is the time of year where we see everybody liking the president, and it changes usually fairly quickly after that. But if you look at the polls, and certainly in the state where Nancy Pelosi is from and where I'm sitting, Democrats really don't need to worry. As a matter of fact, they're going to flip probably all Republican or former Republican seats. And I think what he's trying to do, and he even says he hopes that it would have the same effect, if you will, that crumbs and deplorables would have the same effect. It won't, because Nancy Pelosi is not running for president, and nobody in West Virginia that's going to vote for or against Joe Manchin, or in Wisconsin that's going to vote for or against Tammy Baldwin is looking at Nancy Pelosi's
and seeing more money in their paychecks this week, and for some weeks to come. Some of them haven't seen it yet. Some have. This isn't crumbs. This is having a big impact on an American family that could use a few more dollars in their pocket. Did you like the use of that word by Nancy Pelosi, crumbs?
No, and I said that earlier. I didn't think it was wise to use that term, and I would agree that it does make somebody, sound elitist. And I understand what she was trying to say, which is if you get $300 today, and at the end of the year without the personal exemptions, you see what the net is, and you end up with a loss, or you end up with $5 in your pocket and not $300 or $1,000. Then that is crumbs.
Let's have John take that one on, because that is the point that Nancy Pelosi is making. Enjoy it now. You won't see it later. Listen.
There's some tax advantage in the beginning for families, and that's their enticement. While they give banquets to the rest of to the high end, to the top 1%, to corporate America, they're giving, I say crumbs, they mock me in ads for saying it, compared to the banquet they give at the high end.
I don't know if you heard there, John, she actually acknowledged that she's getting teased about the use of that word, but she's talking about the tax advantage in the beginning of families going away at the end. How do you address that?
Well, I think that that's probably off base, because these tax cuts for individuals in the middle class are going to be renewed. These were expired for budgetary reasons. I think a more sophisticated line of attack would take into account reality, and that would say that, hey, these aren't so much. What I would tell Democrats to say is these aren't really tax cuts so much as they are loans that you're going to pay back or your children are going to pay back, because this is going to cause the deficit to go up. Now, it's a matter of debate about how much this tax cut will cause the deficit to go up, but everybody thinks it's going to make the deficit go up somewhat. So I think that any successful political attack, it has to take into account reality, because if you say something that people can just see with their own eyes isn't true, they don't believe you.
Well, her use of that word does not seem to be going away anytime soon. Thanks to both of you for being here this morning. Good to see you. Happy weekend.
Thank you.